This is the WWE NXT December 10th, 2024 full show results video, and Julia makes her entrance and gets on the mic. She tells us she is the Iron Survivor and says she's gonna win the NXT Women's Championship from Roxanne Perez at New Year's Evil. Perez makes her entrance and claims that Julia's victory basically didn't count because her opponents ran out of time and she's not on her level anyway. None of the women in the division are on her level, and she's already beaten Julia, so it'll be the same result all over again. That is, if Julia even makes it to New Year's Evil and then comes Cora Jade. She lays on more if you even make it talk, and we cut to Stephanie Vaquer laid out backstage, which she takes credit for. They circle up on Julia and Kalani Jordan makes the save and the babyfaces run the heels off. We get the all-ego Ethan Page promo from Saturday about him not knowing how to get back to the top and see a bunch of the roster watching it when the D'Angelo family roll up into the green room. Tony D'Angelo approaches All Ego and gives him crap for bringing it down and offers him a NXT North American Championship match tonight because he has a soft spot for him. Page says he means no offense, but the North American Championship is beneath him, and Tony says he doesn't want the match. Fine, he'll open it up to the room. The room explodes with people taking the offer, and All Ego pops up to take the match and says if he can't beat the North American champion his career is pretty much over. He needs this, he says, and he says please, and D'Angelo agrees to the match. Back from the commercial, Lexus King is chatting with Charlie Dempsey and says he wants another shot at the Heritage Cup, and Dempsey says he'll think about it. Charlie goes to talk to No Quarter Catch crew and talks about how proud he is of all of them even in defeat. Out the mud roll up to tell NQCC they can't hang with the big dogs, and Jada Parker tells Ren she should be thankful to her. Sinclair says her tensions are high, and we cut away. The next match happened between J. Yvonne Evans vs. Wes Lee, and the result of this match was J. Yvonne Evans defeated Wes Lee by pinfall with the double jump tornado. Fraxium are hanging out backstage, and Axiom consoles Nathan Frazer over losing Iron Survivor, but Frazer talks up retaining the tag titles and says without Axiom's performance they would have lost. Axiom is upset Oba Femi was even in the match and says Nathan is his tag partner and he'd do anything for him, and Frazer says he's got to do something about this and goes off to talk to Ava Rain about it. Back from the commercial, we get a video package about Josh Briggs and Yashiki Inamura with footage from Pro Wrestling Noah. Julia and Kalani Jordan are interviewed outside the trainer's room, and Julia rants in Japanese. Jordan says she's sick of all this and they're gonna take it to Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade in the main event tonight. Zarya and Sol Ruka are shown hanging out in the locker room, talking about how much they liked Iron Survivor, and the Meta Girls roll up and talk some trash. The next match happened between Hank and Tank vs. Tyree Ekigwe and Tyson DuPont, and the result of this match was Hank and Tank won the match by pinfall with the assisted power slam on Tyson DuPont. Post-match, handshakes are offered and Tyson DuPont accepts them, but Tyree Ekigwe isn't having it and walks off alone. Back from the commercial, Oba Femi makes his entrance and gets on the mic. Surprise, surprise, he says, the ruler is back. At Deadline he stormed into the building, kicked down the opposition, destroyed everybody, and now he's the Iron Survivor. So in 4 weeks in Los Angeles at New Year's Evil, he'll reclaim his rightful position on the throne as the ruler of NXT. Trick Williams interrupts him and he slides in the ring to confront Oba, but then comes Eddy Thorpe. He's not having it, he and his people have been through too much, and Oba attacked him and took his place. Where is the justice in that? He thinks because he's a badass he can do whatever he wants? Femi tells him to shut his mouth, and those are some bold accusations, and he asks if Eddy saw him. Thorpe says he was attacked from behind, but he was hit so hard that it only could have been Oba, and Femi tells him he's done with him then, and Trick says he's been where Oba is, and everybody's excited to see them go head-to-head in LA, the two biggest stars NXT has to offer. They've never really talked, but he's glad for the opportunity, and a title reign isn't defined by how long you hold it, but who you defeat while you're carrying it. Femi offers him some truth that no one has ever hit him with, that the only reason Williams is the #1 guy around here is that he lets him be the #1 guy. Oba spits in his face incidentally while he speaks, and Trick wipes his face as Femi says he knew that when he was ready, he'll take the title easily. He promises, he swears, the beginning of 2025 will be the end of Trick's era, and Thorpe fumes behind him this whole while. Oba leaves and Eddy grabs Williams and says he's NXT champion and he's supposed to be a leader, but he didn't press Femi once about what happened to him. He thought maybe he'd even get a title match out of it to make up for the injustices that have been wrought on him. He used to look up to Trick, but when it's time to look under the hood, all there is a manufactured sports entertainer. He made it to the top of NXT very quickly, but he wouldn't last 2 weeks in the Japanese dojos he came up in, and the guy that came from Eagles training camp to a WWE tryout? Trick tells him to shut his ass up. He's sick of all the doubters and says if Eddy thinks he can take the title he should believe that, because he's got no problem whipping his ass and proving that he is exactly what he says he is, and they'll find out next week. He tells Ava to set it up and drops Eddy with a right hook. Fatal Influence are backstage chatting, unable to decide which of them Gigi Dolan returned to fight. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley are walking backstage and Gigi is worried about the numbers game and Tatum is about to say she just made some and Izzy Dame rolls up to tell them to stop ducking her. Sean Spears and his pals roll up and Spears tells Dame to leave Gigi alone before telling her how impressive she is, to which Izzy says she knows and she doesn't need to hear it from him and storms off. The next match happened between Fatal Influence versus Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley, and the result of this match was Fatal Influence defeated Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley by pinfall with a folding press from Jacy Jane on Tatum Paxley. Post-match, Fatal Influence beats Tatum down, Gigi tries to make the save and gets overwhelmed, and then we saw the return of Shotzi Blackheart, and she makes the save, and sends the heel outside the ring. Fraxium are chatting backstage and Axiom tells Nathan he got himself a match against Oba Femi next week to try and avenge Fraser. Nathan is upset and thanks Axiom but says he felt real bad and got them a tag title match for next week. Axiom is upset, Fraser asks how bad it could be, his partner asks if he's looked at his face lately and Nathan weakly points out that Axiom wears a mask. The next match happened between All Ego Ethan Page versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT North American Championship, and the result of this match was Tony D'Angelo defeated Ethan Page by pinfall with a spinebuster, retaining the NXT North American Championship. Post-match, the camera fixes on a despondent Ethan Page as he obviously considers what he said earlier about losing to the North American champion. Lexus King is talking with Football Jr. backstage, who apparently told him to go to Minneapolis over the weekend and it worked out for him. Charlie Dempsey rolls up and says he's thought about it and King can have his title match in 2 weeks as long as he makes it through a workout with no quarter catch crew first. Back from the commercial, Ethan Page is interviewed in the parking lot and he says he can't right now. He knows he's better than this but he's lost his way. He says he's all ego, but he doesn't think he is right now and he's not good enough to win the North American Championship, and he's just lost and ashamed. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez versus Julia and Kalani Jordan, and the result of this match was Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez won the match by pinfall. Post-match, Stephanie Vaquer appears in the ring behind Cora Jade and lays her out with elbows and a headbutt. She breaks the kendo stick over her knee and chases Jade out through the crowd. Backstage we see Eddy Thorpe signing his title match contract in Ava Rain's office. She says they're still looking into who attacked him and he says he knows he attacked himself to avoid going through 25 minutes of hell to get a title match. Wow! What a brilliant idea by Eddy Thorpe. The show goes off the air. Let me know in the comments section whether you like this week's NXT show or not. Please subscribe the channel, and thanks for watching the video.